Yeah, great.
Great. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the Maker Music Festival. And this morning, we're going to start our session with the fabulous Captain Credible, coming to us from Oslo, Norway. Yay.
Hi, here I am. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is going to be fun. I have to be honest with everybody that I've not really had a huge amount of time to prepare, but I've written a few bullet points down on a piece of paper, kind of outlining things that I have had time to throw together and talk about here. So I'll just like introduce you to them to begin with, just so that you kind of know what we're going to be getting into. I mean, obviously, I'm a musician and maker. I guess everybody is that's on that's at this festival. And I'm gonna, it says here, talk about stuff. That's the first point. This is great. Well done, Dan. This is going to come in handy. Talk about stuff. Microbit, it says there, and yeah. Oh, I've got a early on. Obviously, I need to show you this web-based sequencer. So it's a little bit. If I hold my arm up there, maybe it'll be easier to read. But it says cptcredible.com/st2, and if you go to that link, you'll find this step sequencer that you can use. And in here, you can make a beat like I'm doing now. And let's see, you can also listen to the beat. And you can write your name, like Daniel, for instance, and submit it. And it will be submitted to a server on the internet. And that server is also, luckily, the same server as my other bit of kit over here. This is a bit dumb. Didn't really think about this. It's way over there. Can you see that thing? That thing over there. And I'm going to have to shout now because I'm further away from the microphone. This is going to go on the internet and fetch these sequences one at a time and play them on this behind here, which is the real version of the drums that you can kind of see on the internet page thingy. I hope that's clear, because these are robotic drums over here that you can make beats on. So the plan is at the end of this session. There I am. The plan is that I'll do some jamming, jam some music out on these robotic instruments that I've got around, because I've got a few others here as well. Let's see if I change to that camera, you can see that in the foreground here as well. There's some like synthesizer stuff here, and there's some breadboards over there that have been made by kids that make music, and I'll be using them to jam, and together with you guys who will be controlling the robot drums. It'll be great. So heads up, start making your beats, and so that we have something cool to play with. I can see there's already 6 of them in there, one of which I made, so that's going to be really great. Let's get on with sensible and interesting things to say. Yeah, as a musician and maker, I mean, this is usually I hold these kind of talks for people that aren't all musicians and makers at the same time. So, let me know if this is stuff that isn't very interesting to you. But what I usually tell people about is my approach to building musical instruments and to making things, technology and programming, and why I make instruments is what I usually talk about. And the reason I make instruments, in a nutshell, is because it's really important to me to feel that I have created the tools that I use to create my music with. I started very early on as a musician in about 2006. It must have been, yeah, playing electronic music, and I just made music in my bedroom on a computer, like most people do. And at some point, I was asked to play a concert of my electronic music, and of course the way people played concerts back in those days when it was electronic music was just by sitting behind a laptop on stage and like fist bumping in the sky every now and then, and basically checking their emails on stage. And I didn't want to perform it like that. I wanted to perform my music in a more explanatory way, because I feel that not only, I mean, especially with music that's a little bit difficult to understand, like my music is. I'll play some excerpts of it later so that you can understand that it is a bit complicated, nonsensical music. It's a lot easier to understand an abstract language, which music really is, if you can kind of pin it to some other sensory input at the same time. So if you had never ever heard rock music before, for instance, then it would make a lot more sense if you can see the drummer banging the drums as you hear the drum beat, and you can see the lead guitarist, strumming his guitar as you hear the guitar sounds. It just helps your brain kind of piece things together, even though it doesn't make any explicit sense. There's no explicit meaning in it. It's all very abstract and subjective, but at the same time, it helps your brain kind of understand what's going on. So that's why I wanted to actually play instruments live, and I started building a bunch of instruments, which were basically all just kind of found objects that I just kind of built electronics into. And also kind of I used some dolls, built things out of dolls, and it was all very janky stuff. I was trying to be really clever there and Google a video while I was talking to you that I could show you. Is that going to work? No, that isn't going to work at all. Not like that. Just a minute. I've got a video showing you what it looked like when I used to play concerts before. And also, we can then check if this video showing stuff actually works. If I can show you videos, or whether that's not going to work at all. cptcredible live is what I need to Google. Yeah, here we go. So if I go like that and I click here, then you can see at least kind of what it looks like. So basically, yeah, so you can see a bunch of like boxes, tea boxes, and an old. This is in the middle here is the old oven off the wall in the apartment we moved into, which was all yellow from the guy died of cancer, and he'd been smoking a lot in the apartment. And it's all what in art you'd call it all found objects. You can also see the outline, the shadow here of a helmet, a musical helmet, which became kind of that helmet. I actually found it in a graveyard on my way home from a party in Oslo. I still use that. I have it here actually. It's over here. I still have it and use it at a lot of concerts. It's been through at least 600 concerts, that helmet, which is kind of fun. But helmets turned out to be something that I enjoyed using quite a lot. It's because a lot of what I like to do, as you can maybe tell from the video I just showed you on stage, is kind of build a menagerie of instruments. And this is what I kind of understood after being told to play live, and I actually had to build all these instruments to play with. I realized that the way the instruments work and the situation you put yourself in when you're playing live, greatly affects the music that you play. So I found myself doing completely different things and being inspired to work in different ways by the functionality of the instruments, but also by the kind of appearance of the instruments and the aesthetics and getting into a kind of theatrical mood. And the helmets really kind of helped that. Let me see if I can find a helmet video. Credible helmet. No, all right. I'll see if I can find it while I'm talking to you. But the point is that I realized that these tools I was making were shaping the music that I was playing with them, and it wasn't only, like I said, it wasn't only like the way they worked. To begin with, I just wanted instruments that didn't cost a lot, because musical instruments cost lots of money, and I wanted instruments that did what I wanted them to do, and not a bunch of other stuff that I didn't want them to do. And I ended up finding out that they were shaping the music, and that they were also, both through the aesthetic, the appearance, and also through the way they function. So I use these helmets. Here we go. Here's the video of the helmet. Here's what it looks like when I use that old helmet. Can I go? There we go. Like that. Yeah, I have to admit, I'm always a little bit surprised myself by how nonsensical a lot of these videos are. But the point with that helmet is that it's electronically and functionally it's extremely simple. It's basically it's one knob. I've lost it now. I put it down somewhere, but it's just one knob and a switch. So it's an on-off switch and a knob that you can control some effects with on the computer. But the fact that it's a knob that you wear on your head in front of an audience on stage means that what you're going to do with that knob is vastly different than what you would do if it was just a knob amidst a million other knobs on a generic MIDI controller. And I started experimenting with this with audiences as well, where instead of building musical instruments that I could tell were affecting the way I made music very much, I also started building musical instruments. I mean, what you'd call a sound installation, of course, to make other people play them and then try to manipulate how they would use the instruments through how they were made. So in a way, composing music by building tools for other people, I guess you could kind of call it. And this is a video. I mean, it's probably going to be absolute nonsense, but this is a video that I tried to make to to demonstrate and explain that. Are the videos coming through all right, or is it just garbled digital noise? Yeah, all right, great.
Great.
All right, that made perfect sense to me, actually. I was a lot more explanatory than I remembered it. But basically, what I was beginning to understand was that the art, I mean, the piece, the composition or the work of art or the piece was in no means something that I, as a composer, made 100%. I mean, it was always going to be a collaboration between me and whatever tools I used, whether I'd built them myself or somebody else had built them, and the audience that was observing me. And in that installation that I just showed you there, the whole point was to make these tools for a participant that would, this would be exhibited in exhibitions and things like that, and then people would walk up to it and start using it, and at first experiment and try to figure out how it works, and they were playing with it and what's the English word for it? Utforske is called in Norwegian. go and never mind, try and figure out how it works basically, and then eventually other people would start coming and viewing these people that were experimenting with it, and as soon as they got a little audience, as soon as there was other people looking at them basically, then the people that were first experimenting would swiftly stop experimenting and start performing instead, and using whatever they'd learnt about how the installation works to try and impress or to show other people, this is what's possible with it, here's how it works. And I thought that was really interesting. And I like to use that in, I still use that in just about all my art nowadays. So I realized that for me, the work of art, it exists in the point of interaction between the artist or composer who has created it and the tools that the person has used and the audience that is experiencing that. And without all of those three, the artwork just simply doesn't exist in my mind. And there's no one of those three that is particularly in control, really. I like to think, and I think a lot of composers and artists like to think that they have a huge amount of control over the art that they're creating. But I think objectively, if I try to reflect over it, it feels like I have a lot less control than I would like over the finished product, which kind of brought me down the. I notice I'm going on a bit, but I like to wrap that kind of thought up with these circuit boards that I started making. So I started to design these circuit boards, which are my EP releases. This is how I release music now, where the circuit board it generates music when you plug it in. So if I get a speaker that is probably lying around here somewhere, at least it was earlier. It isn't right now. If I did have a speaker, and oh look, here it is. If I have a speaker like this and a little cable, and I plug the cable, if I turn the speaker on maybe, and I plug the cable into this circuit board. Come on. Oh, whoops, turned it off again. On. You're going to wake up? Come on. Little speaker. There we go. If I now plug this circuit board in, it'll start generating an infinitely long. And every time I plug it in, it makes a new infinitely long song. But the interesting thing is, using these two buttons, I can alter the music that it's making. So I as a composer have written the code that generates these different songs, but the tool itself will also use random chance, and it's sampling electromagnetic radiation. So 1% of the composition is determined by background radiation from the Big Bang. But then the user, it can alter this composition by pushing the buttons. And the user can also make his own composition, as I'm going to try and do now. Oh, wait a bit, that was a bit hectic. And so on. You get the idea. The user can write his own compositions, but if the user does write his own compositions on this circuit board, then eventually the circuit board itself will decide to transpose the compositions, or remove notes, or add notes, or change the drums, or sometimes delete everything and start anew, which is all really just to try and make it blatantly obvious that absolutely nobody is in control fully of what is the final result of this piece of work. And it's all, everything that is created exists purely because of the point of interaction between all three participants here, the tool itself and the composer and the audience. I didn't really know that was what I was going to talk about, but that's what it ended up being. But I also have a few other things to talk about, which kind of have to do with that, because through that's kind of my artistic practice, I guess, and I've built a lot of other, I love building like candle powered instruments and everything that has like elements of chance and a complicated system that seems to kind of be alive somehow, and where it's obvious that everybody needs to participate for a result to occur. And this idea of building the tools that I use to make art with is also carried over into how I do teaching. Which I think it probably does for a lot of people as well, without them maybe thinking about it so consciously. But obviously, maybe not obviously, but because I was building all my musical instruments and when playing concerts with them, I was quickly asked to start holding workshops and teach other people how to build musical instruments. So I've also been doing that since about 2007, and I've been developing my own musical instruments to hold these workshops with. So everything from circuit boards that make music, or voice changes, things like that. But then also more recently, I've been using the microbit and manipulating the microbit to be able to facilitate teaching music related things in a more sensible way. And it just struck me that most of you guys are in the United States, and you might not really have a clue what the microbit is.
Actually, you know what, Daniel, we have a few folks. We have Fraser from the UK. We have Daniel from Flare Drum from Germany, other Daniel from South America. So we've got an international audience here.
Yeah, nice. I like it. This is the microbit, for those of you who haven't seen it. And it's a programming platform primarily to teach kids programming. I mean, it's to teach all age groups that don't know about programming, but it's to teach kids programming. And in Norway, programming is also part of the music curriculum in the schools. So in schools, kids are supposed to learn music programming using the microbit, preferably. I mean, they don't have to do that, but that's kind of the easiest way to do it. But as a lot of you may know, the music capabilities of the microbit look a little bit like this. If I was to start a project here and test the music capabilities, I've got this block here that says music, and I can play a melody. Well, this melody can only play one note at a time, and it can only make these horrible square wave noises, which I mean are very beautiful, but once you've heard the same square wave noise a million times, it gets a little bit annoying. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, I noticed, because before I did all this, before I was worried about what kind of noises the microbit could make, I also, this is what I want to be showing you, isn't it? Me. I also started making these installations for museums and other institutions, like this one here, which is an orchestra of robotic instruments, basically, on the walls here. And as you can see on all these instruments, there is a little microbit, and they're all wirelessly controlled, obviously, as that's what you can do with microbits. And the aim of using this, I mean, so here's a xylophone, over there's a drum kit, and so on. And students can then sit in this room, which is a classroom, and program their microbits to control the orchestra of microbits that's on the wall. And then it's all set up so that they can program sequences of music, and then all their microbits, all the students' microbits, will synchronize with each other so that they can play a piece together where each student or each group has composed their part, which is then playing on their own robot on the wall. And there's if you can go to this webpage if you want to explore it. I think it's just like bit.ly/microbit orchestra. Yeah, that is it. That'll take you to this page where you can have a look around, and there's also videos explaining like what the different things do, what the point is of them. 40106. This one's actually quite interesting, I think, because it's a oh dear, sorry, it's a little box that plays these circuit boards, and these circuit boards are little oscillators that are built by students on workshops. So I use them a lot when I travel around playing concerts as well, and it's always fun to kind of have part of the instruments you're using be things that have been built by students at workshops. Anyway, like I said, I also kind of wanted to get the microbit to make more interesting sound without having to have all this electronics around it, and without having to build robots and yeah, like this rabbit in the roof here. There's another example. Maybe you can, I don't think you can see it, but yeah, I built all these little rabbits that people can use. So I've started quite recently a project trying to get proper synthesis to work on the microbit. And also trying to facilitate for making interesting melodies and rhythms on the microbit too. Let me see if I can throw a little demo up for you here.
And then Daniel, we're going to have to wrap in a minute or two.
A minute? Oh, Jesus.
Really I know, time goes fast. Time goes fast.
All right. Well, I'll skip all the boring parts of the work of the demo. Then I was going to, oh dear, I can't see what you can see now. I better go like that. I was going to like show you how I've set up this system for importing synthesizer sounds and playing sequences in parallel with each other that you can all trigger simultaneously to be able to make rhythms that run in parallel. But I think I'll just show you some of these examples, maybe just one of them actually, like this one here, I think. So this is an example using the synthesis library, which kind of demos a few different aspects of what it can do. Let me just link it to this micro bit so that I can get it to play. Done there, and then download. Then if we change that camera to there, and we look at the micro bit, it should be downloading soon. Almost done. And while it's downloading, I'll just connect these crocodile clips like this. Oh, bear wasn't supposed to start like that. There we go. Oh no! Everything's going wrong. Let's see. There. So it's playing drums now, and it's playing synthesizer tones, and at the same time as it's doing that, it's sending radio messages to a robotic piano in the other end of the room, which is over there, playing the melody. And I can turn these pads back on. Is that one? No, it's this one, probably. Is it that one? Let's see. And then the pads are controlled by the accelerometer as well. And yeah, so that's that. The idea of that is that, let me just, sorry, turn it off there. Great demo, Dan. That went really well. And there's my camera. No, wait, that's not it. That's it there. Okay, but I do realize I'm probably out of time, but at the same time, I also promised that we were going to try these this drum thing at the end, didn't I? But nobody's made any beats. Have they? Let me see. Refresh. Oh, yes, they have. Sorry, I forgot to refresh the queue. And also, I can see the full queue here. So there's 10 beats that we can just quickly go through using this robot thing over here. And as we do that, I think I can also actually, if I can find the thing, go back to here, and then we can put the cue note there on screen so we can see it while we play. And then, of course, maybe I should just bring this camera over here. That seems very professional. And we can aim it like at the drums like that. And then we can go like this, there and there. No, sorry, that one. There we go. There's the drums. And then we'll just go through them one at a time. This is ready. Oh yeah, and then I was going to play beats too. There we go. Oh, there we go. And there. So this is story. We'll play some drums over here at the same time. And then the next one. Yeah, all right. Sorry.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that is an amazing end. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I could listen to you all day long. I seriously could.